Here's another case where basically you can't believe the police reports that are filed because they lie through their teeth, and the only chance you have is if either you or someone else catches situations on video. A Georgia cop was indicted for murder after the grand jury viewed a persuasive dash cam footage video disproving the official narrative. The guy on the left, the officer, is James R. Burns. He was the Atlanta cop that killed this young man. The guy on the right that he killed is Deravis Rogers. This murder occurred in June 2016. The footage was so pervasive, it took jurors less than 10 minutes to return the murder indictment against a Georgia cop last week. He clearly lied, and had there not been any cameras in the car, he probably would have gotten away with it, grand juror number 7 told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Atlanta police officer James R. Burns had told investigators an unarmed black man was trying to kill him with his car on June 22nd, which made him fear for his life. When have you heard that before? It's either he was in fear for his life, he tried to get my gun, and there's one more, I forget what it is, but it's something that he was resisting. That's the third one. They're always resisting. Anyway, the 23-member grand jury handed down a murder indictment last Wednesday after viewing dash cam footage and determined the expert marksman did not appear to be in danger after stepping out of his patrol cruiser and shooting the man in the back of the head as he pulled out of a parking spot. It turns out Burns was not even sure the 22-year-old Deravis Rogers was the actual suspect he was looking for, according to Atlanta Police Chief George Turner, who testified against the officer and who also fired him in July after viewing the video. The driver of the vehicle posed no threat to you, said Chief Turner, yet rather than allow the driver to proceed past you, you exited your vehicle and ultimately prevented the driver from driving away through the use of deadly force. Burns responded to an officer requesting backup during a foot pursuit of a suspected burglar near an Atlanta apartment complex. As Burns arrived at the complex, he noticed a car's headlights turned on and began towards his car from a parking spot. Rogers was driving the car but didn't stop when Burns lit up his blue and red lights. After Rogers drove away from the parking spot, Burns fired a single shot into his car, striking him in the back of the head. He lied by saying Mr. Rogers' car drove towards him, which is contrary to the evidence uncovered by the APD investigation and uncovered by our investigation. Director of the Public Integrity Unit of the Fulton DA's office, Melissa D. Redmond, said, "Pulling out of a parking space does not warrant being shot in the back of the head. He didn't know who was in the car. Mr. Rogers is not going to be on trial. It's not on trial. He's not on trial. He was doing nothing wrong." Video footage from another patrol car on scene revealed Burns walking from behind his police cruiser after he shot Rogers and showed he faced no immediate danger. Prosecutors argued Rogers made no attempt to strike the officer and Burns was safely standing at the rear of his own patrol vehicle when he fatally shot Rogers in the head, according to Reuters. When he got out of the car, the gun was drawn, and within 4 seconds he fired off a shot into a car, and he didn't know exactly who or what he was shooting at, said juror number 7. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard credited dash cams that captured video of the incident from 2 patrol cars and testimony from 2 eyewitnesses for helping him and his team build a case against Burns. It made the presentation of the case much different from some of the cases that we've presented, Howard said. The officer did not know anything about the person in the car, and without knowing any specific facts, he ended up making a decision that ended up being exactly the wrong decision. Atlanta Police Sergeant Warren Pickard told reporters, "We determined right away that the shooting was not something this department could stand behind." Rogers' father, Deravis Thomas, told 11 Alive News, his son had just begun a new job the day he was killed. He had dreams and goals. I was proud of him, and I'm still proud of him. Burns wrote on his application that his background working in security overseas in places like Somalia, Pakistan, and Haiti gave him experience necessary for a law enforcement career. I have worked in hospital and insecure environments all over the world and have gained valuable experience as an effective operator, he wrote. However, I have much to learn. I believe this department is ideal for me to begin my career in law enforcement. Burns was charged with murder on July 15th and released on a $240,000 bond, with the judge stipulating he give up his passport and not have any contact with the Rogers family. What if they put an ankle bracelet on his ass? Ex-officer James Burns is not the first murderer to get a bond. He won't be the last murderer to get a bond. I understand this is part of the judicial process. On to the next phase, said Thomas. It's a picture of that motherfucker. Burns' defense attorney hinted he intends to make Rogers' criminal history and failure to stop as part of his client's defense. That's going to be a good one, since this guy didn't even know who the hell was in the car. Okay? All Officer Burns did was angle his car, get out, and ask the person to stop, he claimed. We would not be here today had the vehicle stopped. That is a significant issue why somebody wouldn't stop. I would stop and everybody here would stop, but that vehicle did not stop. But as of this time, there is no mention that Rogers even heard Burns telling him to stop. Since 2010, about 200 Georgia cops have fatally shot citizens, but Officer James R. Burns is just the second cop criminally charged for killing a civilian, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But several of Burns' cop friends say the guy they know isn't a murderer or a hothead, which may be a prerequisite to the thin blue line testifying on his behalf if the case goes to trial. Officers also charged Burns with making a false statement, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and 2 counts of violation of oath by a police officer. So, I wonder what his report actually said. But obviously, it had to be a lie, because when the police chief testifies against you, you know your ass is in trouble. Perhaps we're starting to see the beginning of cops policing their own.